Comes to a close, Ontario Liberals find themselves at a fork in the road. The February election saw the party regain official status and earn nearly 1/3 of the vote, but Liberals are left asking for a third time since 2018. Who will lead them next, and where will they take the party from here? John Fraser is interim Liberal leader. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the studio. Thanks so much for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
I wonder what a challenge it's been not having a permanent leader. Can you just describe for us what that's been like, and do you think it's blunting your party's impact?
No, I think we've elected 5 new members to the legislature, as you just said. I think we've been effective at calling the government to account on things like the Skills Development Fund, what's happening in education. That's what our job is. And what we have to continue to do as a party is to build up our party. And a lot of my colleagues and myself will be traveling in the new year. We've traveled before we went into session. So speaking to people about why local matters and what we stand for.
Both Bonnie Crombie, who resigned following the election, and even before her, Stephen Del Duca, they really struggled in really blunting the Premier's popularity. Both were unable to win their own seats. Do you think it comes down to then a leadership problem within your party?
No, I think if you take a look at the last February's election, it was a snap election called a year and a bit ahead of time under the veil of Donald Trump. When there was a lot of anxiety and fear about Donald Trump, people didn't want change. We went to 30% in the polls. Like I said, we elected 5 new members. We have official party status, which means a whole bunch of really great things, more time in the legislature, more resources to be able to do our work. So, I think, last February's election is a bit of an anomaly. And so we just have to continue to work hard. There's work to be done at Queen's Park, but our work really is also out in communities, going out and speaking to people about what matters most to them, and again, about what we stand for and what we're fighting for.
Let me ask you then, as you look forward to 2026, given your party's improved position following the February election, do you think, Liberals should stay on course and sort of hope for more gains? Or is it time maybe for your party to come out of its political comfort zone to maybe attract a new audience?
Yeah, I think we have to go. I think we have a lot of work to do out there. As I say, for the last 2 leadership elections, if we do the things the same way we've done the last 2 times, we're going to get the same result. So, and what we're doing right now is going out to communities, as I said, talking to people about what's important to them. In Ontario, usually I say there's 3 things you got to get right. You got to get the healthcare, our hospitals right, our schools right, and make sure our economy is good so our young people will have jobs. Those 3 things are consistently always important to people. And we have to communicate to them what our plans are for that, and also our criticism of the government.
Do you think there is a particular area of policy where you'd like to maybe see the Liberals step outside of its comfort zone? Or again, do you think the message is fine, you permanent face now?
Look, I think we have to look for bold new ideas. I think we take a look at education. We've been doing the same thing in education, putting kids in desks for more than 150 years. And so we have to look at what's happening in the world. How are education systems changing? How can we actually make sure our kids are prepared for the future? Things like AI and the other piece in that too is we have to take a hard look at things like the impact of social media and the prevalence of online gambling and gambling with our kids and the kind of effect that's having not just on their mental health but on their learning.
You mentioned that in 2026, you and other MPPs, Liberal MPPs, will be going across the province, meeting with people, meeting with Ontarians. I guess, what does that mean for a leadership race? Do we have any word on when a formal leadership race might take place?
The leadership working group we started that about 2 weeks after Ms. Crombie resigned, which they have to put together all the rules, formulate the race. It's a big. This is the 3rd time we've done it. It's a thing you've got to organize ahead of time, and I think when we look at that race, we'll find out in the new year how we're going to do that. But we have to focus on making sure that we can get into communities, work in communities, stay in communities. The leadership candidates, not just visit London once, be in London for a few days, work there, meet people. It's an opportunity to build up the party, the leadership race, as well as the work we're doing right now.
I guess the reason I ask then is, since you are doing that work and your fellow MPPs are doing that work, do you think the leadership race should kind of be delayed until closer to when we could see an election, and you and your team of MPPs should continue carrying that torch until then? Or would you like to see a faster race take shape and then a permanent face travel the province and meet with
Look, I think
Ontarians?
it's important to do that. I think it's important, though, that we get the race right. If we do it the same way we did the last two times, we'll end up with the same result, which is the winner having a party that's not stronger than when the race began. So let's do some work to make sure our party gets stronger as we go into that race, and then design a race that helps our party become stronger during the race by the way that we organize the tour, the way that we set up the voting. And these are all things for the party executive to decide and the leadership working group. But I'm just encouraging them to take a look at that. Let's look at how we can do things differently, how we can spend more time in places so they can become more familiar with us, more familiar with the leadership candidates.
So you're in no rush.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like we can't let the grass grow under our feet. Just do it right. And that doesn't mean waiting forever. It just means put your mind to what it is we have, like what are our goals? Our goals are to build up our party. So design a race that does that more effectively than we've done the last few times.
Okay, Interim Leader John Fraser, a pleasure to speak with you this morning. Thanks so much for making the time.
Thank you very much.
And just a note for our viewers, NDP Leader Mart Stiles joined us last week to discuss the year ahead and reflect on 2025. The Premier's office, however, has declined our request for an interview. We're going to send things over now